In their day-to-day lives, our next guests go by John Paul Kane and Caleb Robertson. But in drag, they are Fay Fluffy and Fluffy Souffle. They started a drag story time for kids 6 years ago, and now they have a new TV show, The Fabulous Show with Fay and Fluffy.
Today's book is Everybody's Different on Everybody's Street.
We love to see it. Welcome to Cityline, JP and Caleb. When you first started performing, drag culture in Toronto didn't really exist outside of bars and drag shows. How does it feel to now have this national audience, and what's your biggest hope with this show?
Well, it's pretty exciting that we have this opportunity to share our message with the entire country. We have been working diligently for the past 6 years, cultivating Fay and Fluffy story time in the city of Toronto. We've traveled all over southern Ontario as well. So the hope has always been about, spreading a message of celebrating diversity, individuality, literacy, and inclusion. Those are very important to us. What else?
It's definitely beyond what we could have imagined. We started 6 years ago. We weren't even thinking about the possibility of having a TV show. So it's pretty amazing that it's actually happening, and the feedback that we're getting from families across Canada, whether they be in small towns or big cities, about how important this representation is for their families has been really amazing.
Now, you tackle some tough topics for kids on this show, including death and sadness. How do you do that in a way that young kids can understand? I mean, as a parent, I would love to know how you do that and what parents like me can take from this and incorporate into our own conversations.
The biggest thing that we do is we talk to kids with honesty and authenticity, because kids get that. Kids know if you are not telling them full truths. They know if you're dancing around things. And so we deal with things head on, and we deal with big topics, but they're in the context of talking with kids. We're not talking at kids. So we have kids in our audience every day that we get to chat with, and so a lot of the ideas are coming from them. They're telling us about their families. They're telling us about experiences that they've had. And so it's really about including them and being honest with them, as opposed to just kind of talking about it. And sometimes those questions are hard, and that's okay. So sometimes it means going, that's a really great question. Why don't we look that up together? Because parents are kind of expected to know everything, but we all know that that's not true. And in a lot of cases now, kids are coming in with a lot more knowledge, because as the world changes, as language evolves, the kids are sometimes in the forefront of talking to their parents about that. So it's an equal relationship of both teaching our kids and listening to them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, I say to my kids all the time, I don't know. Let's look it up, because I don't know. And I think that you're absolutely right. When you deal with kids in an authentic way, the things they will tell you. So I think it's really good to keep it real with them, because they will keep it real with you. No filter. What is the topic that you tackled on the show that personally touched you both the most, do you think?
Well, I have to say that really honestly, the most joyful aspect of the whole thing was having children in the audience with us while filming happened, and just their natural responses and reactions. And so having that the authenticity in that is translated through the TV show, and it's sort of a rare thing to be able to actually watch a show and connect. Often it's a little bit sort of far off in the distance, it seems, but we really value having those authentic experiences and interactions with kids. We listen. That is vitally important. We answer the questions that they need. So the whole experience of working with those kids was such a joyful thing, to experience that on the daily.
The personal experiences that I had on the show, the topics were sometimes about kind of emotions, was really big for me. I actually teared up quite a few times reading the scripts, just because I couldn't believe that we were actually getting to talk about these things with kids. I would read them and I was like kind of blown away. The fact that we did a puppet script about equality versus equity, and teaching kids that it's important that people are getting what they need and not just everyone getting the same thing. So yeah, I think emotions though were kind of one of the big ones for me to be able to talk about.
You're doing kids a big service because we're talking about equality versus equity on this show with grown-ups. So if you two can come in and start having those conversations when they're children, it's like they're going to grow up and understand and have access to this inclusive language that they really need to be able to function with empathy throughout the world. So thank you for doing the work that you're doing. I'd love to know what your favorite part of filming has been.
There were so many moments. We had such an amazing crew, and our crew was so many people that were from the LGBTQ plus community. We had so many women involved. We had so many people of color, and it just really created an environment where everybody felt that there was a trust involved there. And so some of the moments with the kids were like when they were so authentic again is we had a discussion about families, and one of the children mentioned, you know, sometimes a family has two moms, and one of our kids goes, "What? Two moms?" And it was just this moment that was caught that everyone, you know, remembered that so much, because that's the truth. And you know, we're teaching these things, but it's still kind of, sometimes kids are learning it for the first times. Yeah. And taking it out of the show, my godson has two moms, and when I told him about my nephew that he has one mom and one dad, and he kept on saying, "Well, where's his other mom?" And I said, "He only has one mom." And his response was, "Oh, that's sad that he only has one mom." And so we're reflecting the world around these kids. Mm-hmm. We're not making things up. We are not showing them things that are new in the world. We are just reflecting our communities.
That's absolutely right. Okay, the most important message you want parents like myself and parents all across Canada to get from your show, what would that be?
Well, I think what's really vitally important is listen to your kids. Follow their lead. Be authentic, own vulnerability in that you don't have all the answers, but you know what? You want to learn alongside of them so that we can grow through this, that we can understand and gain a better trust by setting this up early with your kids. And I speak as an educator of 25 plus years, that being honest and real and starting that young and owning your mistakes will ultimately provide an opportunity for your kids to continue trusting you as they age, and know that there's no topic that you cannot bring home and share and work through together. That is really vitally important.
And it's also really key that parents are getting an understanding of the message that they're giving their kids that they might not even realize. So what are you saying about your body and your body image that you might pass on to kids? What are you saying about gender stereotypes that you might not even realize? And people talk about, you know, that something like this might not be appropriate for kids, whereas you know, kids are seeing these things all around them. They're seeing Disney movies where there's, you know, non-consensual kissing. There is, you know, sexuality between men and women. And so the fact that we're teaching them that there's just other options out there is not inappropriate. It is absolutely reflecting the world around us. And so if you're making those situations at home safe, where your kids can come and talk to you about anything, like that's when you're winning the game.
Yeah.
If your kids feel like they can't come to you about things about themselves or about their friends or about what they're doing, then you know you need to work on those communication lines, because that's the biggest thing, is making sure that your kids trust you and know that you're a safe person to talk to.
Great advice. Excellent advice. And thank you both for being here. And you know what? Congratulations again on the fabulous show with Fay and Fluffy.
Thank you.
It's the show we need. It's the show our kids need. For more information on where and when you can watch it, just go to our website, cityline.tv.